Hey guys, alright, so this is chapter 2 and chapter 3. They're both kind of short, so I decided to mush them together. So I hope you like it. Enjoy these two, please. I worked really hard. You don't have to like, you don't have to subscribe. I'm not asking for any of that. I just hope that people can enjoy my stuff. And hopefully there isn't any negative things that you find on here, because I don't want to create a negative environment for you all. Alright, bye! Enjoy! Chapter 2. Freya was unconscious for 2 days before waking up. During this time, Garashi and Mataro talked and planned what they were going to do when Freya woke up. What happened? My head was hurting, and now I'm sleeping? Freya thought. Opening her eyes, she saw Garashi and Mataro in the other room talking, pointing at a paper. So should we try Fuxishu first or Blastier? Mataro said, full of energy. Fuxishu, I'm sure, Garashi said, pointing at the paper. Freya sat up, and Maru jumped up and licked her all over. Down, boy, she whispered. Garashi turned around quickly and smiled. You're okay! He chuckled, taking Maru off of her. Mataro gave her a warm soup and a roll. You were asleep for 2 days, she laughed. Freya was shocked. She was doing what? For how long? Oh my gosh, what would my dad be doing now that I've been gone for 3 days? She shouted, quietly due to the fact that she hadn't had any water for a while. He's probably worried sick, Freya said, standing up. Garashi couldn't go back there, not now that he knew why Snake Village didn't like him. Well, we're going to be gone for a lot longer, so I don't think that'll matter, Mataro said, pointing to the paper on the table. Freya looked over at it. It was a map of Vertaz. What's that got to do with anything? Freya asked. Mataro grinned and explained that they would be helping all the foxes and taming them. Freya still wanted her father to know she was safe and who she would be with from now on. I didn't agree to this, but I could tag along with some foxes, she said, still trying to keep her word to the chief. Wow, you don't understand. You're a fox too, Freya, Mataro said bluntly, hoping Ficfonus wouldn't attack again. Freya didn't believe them. She was not a demon fox. She's always been a normal villager in Snake Village. Just 'cause you say so doesn't mean it's true, she said, climbing down the tree. Garashi shook his head and headed down too. Mataro just sighed and swung down some vines to the bottom. They found Hacha in the back of his house. Crying? Freya ran over and hugged him tightly. Father! She yelled happily. Freya, where have you been, my sweet girl? He chuckled. Freya just looked over to Garashi and Mataro, knowing he wouldn't like the answer. They saved me. Don't be mad, she whispered. Hacha set her aside and walked towards them. What did you do to her? He said straightly. Freya was nervous about what he would do to them, but she just sat there watching. We're her friends, Mataro said proudly, her tail wagging. Hacha took a step back in shock. I knew it! Another demon-possessed kid! Garashi just brought more! I knew it was all a bad idea! He yelled, mostly trying to get the attention of someone else. Mataro grumbled, pinned her ears, and lashed her tail, with a small wind kicking up. Mataro, don't. Leave him. It'll only make things worse, Garashi said, pushing her back gently. Hacha pulled out his dagger and laughed. What do you think you'll do, huh? He shouted. Freya couldn't handle it anymore. She stood up and couldn't believe what she had to say, but not saying it would just make it worse. Stop, Father. They're my friends. Please don't hurt them. Freya took a step forward. Because... Freya took a deep breath and sighed. I'm just like them. Hacha showed a splinter of fear. No, you're not! Stay out of this, Freya! He said, getting more angry the more she tried to stop him. Ficfonus, do you think this is a good time? Garashi shouted over. Freya couldn't understand who he was talking to, but whoever it was understood what to do, and immediately a pounding headache knocked Freya out. Ha! Ficfonus? I killed her years ago! Hacha scoffed. Garashi smiled and looked past Hacha's shoulder. Or maybe you think you did, Freya hissed, right behind Garashi. Motaro just laughed in excitement, and Hacha felt digging claws into his back and heard a breath move angrily past his neck. A chill moved through his body, and he slowly looked behind him. "Boo!" she screamed, and giggled afterward. He swung the dagger at the creature, and just saw enough of Freya to fear what a scratch he would have done. But there was still a demon on his back. "Get off of me, demon!" He tried throwing it off. She jumped off and landed right in front of the two friends. "Weak!" she yelled back. She looked over at the two and smiled. Motaro laughed when she realized that Ficfonus was talking about the two of them being weak. "Watch me," she giggled, and walked right just in front of Ficfonus before a dark blue aura burst out and gave Motaro fangs. "I got a fox too," she said, smiling back. Hacha already got the attention of his friend Neo, who had 2 blood chains with spearheads at the ends. "No one was safe with these foxes in the first place," Neo shouted. Garashi was panicked. He couldn't just have his friends go fight with him sitting and being useless. Shax balls might help, or my Spyrus, but them using demons? Garashi thought for a while as the four just stood there waiting. Hacha pulled out a sword he grabbed while getting Neo. "But Hacha, isn't that supposed to be your daughter?" Neo asked, gripping one of his chains. "Who, me? Aren't I the one you're absolutely hating right now? Hacha!" Ficfonus hissed. Freya wasn't in control of her body at all. The only thing she was able to do was hear and watch. "Please don't do what I think you're going to do," she thought. "No, I do what my so-called alpha tells me to do. Okay, mortal?" Another voice rang in her head. Garashi stepped back. He knew that Krashimu would kill everyone, but he needed to help them some way. He grabbed some string attached to Shax's balls. "Remember, I'm here," he choked, "and I say stop." He threw 2 Shax's balls at Neo and Hacha and pushed his friends back as gently as possible. "Are you really just going to use us like this?" Ficfonus growled. "Intimidation?" Motaro asked. Garashi slowly turned around, and there were 3 more men ready to attack. Motaro and Ficfonus looked at each other, then back at Garashi. The 2 of them started running out at the 3 men. The 3 of them grabbed a big blood chain net and threw it over Motaro and Ficfonus. "Let them go!" Garashi shouted, remembering their original plan about the foxes. "We don't have to do this! We just got frightened!" he yelled, rushing over to release his friends. "Don't touch that net," one of them said, throwing a knife at him. Garashi pulled the net halfway off, but the 3 men pushed him away. "Don't hurt them!" he yelled. The reason Ficfonus and Motaro didn't get up was that the blood chains are the only thing that can contain a demon. "Motaro! Freya!" he yelled, trying to get free. "Put it on already!" one man said to the other. They put 3 different handcuffs on him. Normal, extra steel, and blood-fused. Garashi still looked back at his friends, pushing at the ground, trying to stay with them. "Oh, come on, I can get these chains off easily," Freya sat and thought. Ficfonus had enough. She gave some energy to Freya, and went away. In some luck, nobody noticed Freya getting out. "Motaro, Garashi, I'll be back for you," she whispered, and ran off into the woods. Chapter 3. Freya ran, tears streaming down her face. She stopped at a river and sat there, looking at her reflection. "I'm not a monster! I am not!" she shouted. "I won't leave them there." She crossed the river on some rocks. "I won't get anywhere alone," Freya whispered. What she didn't know was that there was someone watching her. "She needs help, huh?" the man thought. "Well, Matrix was sent, wasn't he?" Freya kept walking through the forest and hoping someone or something would help her. She stopped at some bushes to eat and rest, but kept going around sunset. "Just a little farther, and I'll show, because I don't want everyone in Vertaz to know what I am," he kept thinking. The sun was setting, and Freya found a nice side cave she could camp in. "In the morning, I'll take her to my home," he whispered. Through the night, Freya got some leaves and grass and made a beddish area, falling asleep quickly. "Oh, I'm restless. I'll take her now. She won't mind," he chuckled, walking over to reveal that Maychex was a minotaur. Maychex gathered her pack and picked her up, taking her back to his home. He had black hair and small hue of purple due to his strong aura. Book1 knew something about this minotaur. He was a warrior prince to his clan, and indeed very helpful. In the morning, Book1 helped Freya's emotions calm down when she woke up. "Where am I?" she said softly. Maychex walked in and laughed proudly. "I, Maychex, have come to the rescue," he smiled, his ears doing a silly flap. Freya moved back just a little, still surprised at who and what was talking to her. "Whatever you might need, I have come to your assistance," he bowed. Freya giggled a little and let go of the weird feeling. She actually felt safe with him. "My friends are captured, and I need to free them." Maychex put his hands on his hips. "That will be easy for a minotaur such as Maychex." He grabbed his hammer and gestured to go. Freya quickly got up and followed Maychex. She caught up with him and they stopped at the river. "Get on my back," he said, kneeling down. Freya got onto his shoulder, and Maychex crossed the river, holding Freya on his shoulder. Freya and Maychex got to the edge of the village. "Okay, what does your friend look like?" Freya looked down. "Mataro. She's 14, has black, long hair, and she's probably the only one with a tail. She's wearing a blue shirt and green pants. Her hair has small white spots. She also has fox ears, somehow," Freya explained. Maychex chuckled with no explanation. "And the other one?" he said, smiling. "His name is Garashi. He's 13 years old. He has orange marks on his face and brownish red short hair, and he has a green and blue jacket on," and she paused. That sad, calm voice, also double-locked, probably, because everyone is super scared of him. If they're anywhere, they'll be in a dungeon. Maychex raised an eyebrow. "Is Garashi someone you like a lot?" he smirked. Freya blushed and looked down. "We're friends, longer than I have been with Mataro," she muttered sheepishly. "I think they'll actually be in the arena," Freya shivered, pointing to the big, black square building. Maychex frowned. "That sounds like no good, huh?" He looked down at Freya. "She is deeply saddened by this arena," he thought. "I was sent to protect a human, and I chose this one. If she is sad, it makes me mad," Maychex thought. Freya looked up at him. He stood up and took out his hammer. "I will get your dear friends back, Freya." A purple aura slowly glowed and surrounded Maychex. He grabbed Freya gently and put her on his shoulder. "Maychex, are you sure?" she said softly. With a deep breath, Maychex let out a big, loud battle cry. It almost sounded like a cow and a wolf put together. He began running straight toward the big arena. "For Freya!" he yelled, jumping on top of a building. No one seemed to be in the village at the time. "Oh no, they're all at the arena for sure. They hold big events where people are forced to go if there's a demon match happening," Freya said, holding tightly to Maychex. Maychex grew angry. "They make demons fight? Does that mean her friends are demons?" he thought. They made it around to the back of the building. "We should crush through here," Freya said, feeling the walls. Maychex huffed happily and bashed into the wall. They entered into the dark, dusty black hall. "Hey, what are you doing?" a guard said, pointing up his spear. Maychex flinched his hammer, and the guard passed out. "Ha! That was easy!" Maychex chuckled quietly. Through the hall there were tons of cells with different demons or beasts in each of them. Freya stayed behind and looked closer at each demon. "Garashi, Mataro," she said softly, looking forward to seeing them again. Maychex found a big, bright red glowing cage. "Garashi, Mataro, Freya's friends," he said, looking into each of them. You. A strained voice echoed. How do you know those names? Matrix looked closely at the red cage. Matrix is helping and protecting her, he said, getting closer to the bars with skepticism. The red aura flared up, then let off to reveal Garashi. You are Garashi, yes? He asked, getting ready to smash him out. Yeah, I think so, he whispered. Matrix then smiled and smashed the bars, calling for Freya. As she came, 3 guards came and tried trapping them into the cage. Nothing can contain Matrix, he yelled, headbutting them out of the way. He quickly and carefully grabbed Garashi. This is the end of the hall. Where's Mataro? Freya said, panting. Just then, a roar of cheering came from the arena show top. She must be up there, Matrix said, frowning. When they reached the release hall, they saw a big black dragon, and maybe Mataro? What did they do to her? Freya said, tearing up. We need to save her. Matrix set Garashi against the wall. Who? He said, getting very frustrated. He saw an injured girl, rough-cut black hair, fox ears and 3 tails, demon eyes, and the same clothes as Freya explained, but all torn up. Mataro, Freya whispered, getting slightly angry. Mataro screamed in anger and ran straight toward the drake. She slashed at the eyes and bit the throat. The dragon roared, clawing her off. No! She yelled and hugged her on the throat. No! She screamed again and snapped the neck. Freya cut through the net that was blocking them off. No one hurts my friends, she said firmly. A burst of cheers came from the audience. I will kill the one who did this, Matrix said, getting ready to charge. His aura was complete and his eyes were shaking with anger. Mataro just sat there on her knees and screamed out in fury, and a moment later, Matrix ran out, howling his battle cry. But the audience just thought it was a part of the show. Matrix started climbing up to the chief's viewing hut and past Mataro. Even when she twisted into battle position again, Mataro watched in confusion and pain. Mataro, I'm coming! Freya shouted, running towards her. Mataro froze, and as soon as she focused on her, she teared up and ran in for a hug. No one's going to hurt you anymore, I promise, Freya whispered softly into Mataro's ear. Everyone started yelling and running out of the arena as Matrix entered and destroyed the chief's viewing hut. Mataro flinched and looked up at the Minotaur. Freya? She whispered tiredly. Hope you enjoyed the chapters. I'll see you guys next Friday.